Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 6 of A Hardy Conversation. I am Sean Hardy.
And I'm Chris Hardy.
And we've got a lot of stuff to go over today. Hopefully not as much as we've had the last couple weeks. I really do want to try to avoid going to 3 parts this time, Chris. So let's try to keep our rants about CM Punk to a minimal if you go into any of them.
And your rants about Michelle McCool and John Cena.
Whatever.
Can't see me. I'm untouchable.
I can see you. You're sitting right next to me. You're not invisible. Look.
I said untouchable, not invisible.
I just touched you.
Right.
Anyways, last past week on wrestling television, there wasn't anything too dramatic.
Except for live in San Diego, California, the 619. Edge had an injury. He's out till, some people say January, some people say March. But basically he's out for a long time. We're going to see where the tag titles go, but we have a question about that, so we'll get that in a few minutes.
Yes. Over on TNA Impact, the Main Event Mafia dominated the show once again. We did have Tara teaming up with Awesome Calm to take on the Beautiful People. And just as we predicted, Tara was wearing a tank top with a spider in the middle of it that said Tara Rising. So that's obviously the angle they're going with her, just as you heard it here first on A Hardy Conversation.
Correct.
Smackdown last week was okay. There were a couple really funny spots on the show. I enjoyed the Crime Time versus the Hart Dynasty match, although I thought it was a little sad to make the Hart Dynasty lose in their first match on SmackDown. I like Crime Time too, but I think it would have made a much bigger impact for the Hart Dynasty had they gotten the win.
And we also had John Morrison and Teddy Long. Classic Michael Jackson songs. It was hilarious.
They did do a nice little tribute. I didn't think it was as funny as some people did, but it was still a nice little tribute nonetheless.
And the main event was the Unified Tag Team Champions with Punk and Jeff Hardy. And if I had an Emmy and an Oscar, I'd give it to you, Jeff Hardy, because that was a classic Emmy performance you put on. I mean, the eye hurting, and then you're like, I'm all better now. You just got punked again by Jeff Hardy. It was classic.
Same thing that CM Punk has been doing to Jeff for like 2 weeks, though.
But it was classic. Jeff did it way better. Punk could not act his way out of a paper bag.
But Punk could wrestle his way out, which is something Jeff couldn't do.
No, he could. He'd do a swanton out of the bag.
Raw this past week had special guest host, the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase. I kind of got over it after his initial promo. I was waiting to see Virgil come to ringside with them. I thought that would have been freaking classic. One night only, in-ring return of Virgil to be Ted DiBiase's man whore bitch at ringside. On the show, nothing traumatic happened. Cody Rhodes versus Mark Henry, WTF.
Yeah.
Ted DiBiase versus Randy was a very good match that should have been the main event.
Yeah.
But it went to Triple H versus John Cena, part 543, which ended in a double disqualification, which makes the match at Night of Champions a triple threat, which I do believe is a rematch from WrestleMania 24, if I'm not mistaken.
It was where I was at, live in Orlando, Florida.
So, wrestling, honestly, has been on a bit of a downslope for at least me lately.
It's been okay.
Even with the roster trades, they need to do something to rejuvenate the shows.
Yeah.
Evan Bourne versus Kofi Kingston, look for that to probably be the Night of Champions match, because that match was good, and I bet you they'll even pull out more stops at the pay-per-view.
Well, that might be a triple threat as well, with the Big Slow, attacking both of them, saying, I'm the dominant 500-pound behemoth. I'm going to take both you two down. He's done that with Ray. He's done that with basically every little guy in the company.
This is very true. Something we don't normally talk about, I just want to throw a quick, verbal jab in there today. This coming Saturday is going to be UFC 100 live on pay-per-view. Former WWE champion Brock Lesnar is going to be facing Frank Mir to become the undisputed UFC heavyweight champion. Yeah, if you're going to sit here and babble about John Cena and Jeff Hardy, at least you could do is show some respect when I'm talking, okay?
It's Brock Lesnar. Come on.
Brock
He left the
Lesnar-
company to go play for the Minnesota Vikings. He sucked there. He went to go play for MMA. He sucked there. So I'm trying the last thing, UFC.
UFC is MMA.
I know, but he tried.
And he's 3-1 in his MMA record, which is pretty good for an upstart, okay? Look for Brock to become the champion this weekend, beating Frank Mir. He would have beat Frank Mir in his first fight had the rep not pulled him off of Mir for some illegal hits. Also on the card, Dan Henderson versus Michael Bisping. The two Ultimate Fighter coaches are going to go head-to-head. I want to see Michael Bisping get his ass handed to him. He's just a royal douche on the show, and he deserves everything Henderson's going to give to him. The other big fight on the card is GSP George St. Pierre versus Diego Alves. GSP is going to knock that fool out too. Back to wrestling though, which I know, thank you for being a good boy and being patient. Back to wrestling, what else have you got to say?
Nothing much. Tonight, as we're taping on Thursday, we have 3 shows. We have TNA, Superstars, and ECW. So it's a wrestling day today. Take advantage of it. Watch 4 hours of wrestling. It's going to be great today. Just sit by, get something to eat, get something to drink, because it is freaking hot. So relax.
Make you a pitcher of Kool-Aid, some Lipton iced tea, some sun tea. Nothing goes better on a hot day than ice cream, Kool-Aid, and iced tea.
And a beautiful fiance to hold.
Let's get to some questions. What do you say?
Right on.
All right, we're going to go to Facebook first of all. Yes, the Hardy Guys are now on Facebook. Facebook.com/The Hardy Guys. You can add us on Facebook. Our good buddy K Spence wants to know, who do we think needs to feud with who, for how long, and over what belts?
That's a long question, K Spence. And first of all, K Spence, I do want to wish you good luck in your LBWA match coming up next month. You're going to face some guy in an orange suit. I don't know who he is. I forgot his name. But good luck in that match.
Yes. We're going to do this into 2 parts, I think. We're going to do first Raw for the belts, and then we'll go to Smackdown/ECW.
Yeah.
On Raw, Randy Orton is obviously the champion right now. I would like to see him feud with... It's a very interesting one. I'd like to see him feud with...
MVP.
Yeah, MVP would be good, or Evan Bourne. I know they're probably going to give Evan Bourne a push towards the U.S. title right now.
Yeah.
But I think Bourne versus Orton could be a pretty sick match.
Yes.
For the U.S. title, just kind of
it.
answered that one. Yeah, I'd like to see Bourne versus Kofi a little bit more. I think that's a really good match.
Yeah, that could be a long storyline, because Kofi and Bourne are very good wrestlers. So I think that could be a best of 7 series or something like that, going back to the Booker T. I forget his opponent for the U.S. title.
Chris Benoit.
I didn't want to say his name on live television, but...
Why? We're not under Vince McMahon's, cease and desist, you can't mention him order. Chris Benoit still exists in my mindset. I know he's dead, but we can still say his name.
Yeah.
For the Divas title, I would like to see Mickey, who's already feuding with Maurice, and then I'd like to maybe see a Beth Phoenix Maurice or Beth Phoenix Mickey feud, because those 2 women just need championship gold around their waist. They shouldn't be jobbing to a supermodel, basically.
Yeah. Especially Mickey James. She's one of the best wrestlers out there. She's an amazing wrestler. That's it.
We'll be back with part 2, and we'll discuss the other 2 brands and who we think they should be feuding with.